presentation. City Council will not make any formal action on the agenda items at this meeting. All individuals wishing to speak may do so under petitions from the public present. No sign-up card is required. Citizens will be given 3 minutes to speak.
And as always, thank you. City Manager, take it away.
Yes, sir. And Council, the first agenda item tonight is the Community Development Department's overview of their department. No actions required. This is the next to the last one we have. The city clerks will be the last one that we do for this year.
I thought you were going to sing or something there for a minute. That's brutal.
What they mentioned is that if my lips moved and nothing came out, I could stay, but.
Ooh. Well, while we have a moment to fill, I will say what I said to the city manager yesterday. These have been outstanding. He noted how it's good for the citizens to know all the things that are going on in the separate departments. And I said, it's good for the mayor to know these things because, quite honestly, so many of the little things, maybe how many phone calls that different departments field in a day and some of the things they cover that maybe I didn't know. So I just think these have been outstanding, and my hat's off to the entire staff and city manager for putting these together. Okay, that was all I got. You better start rolling.
And here it goes, I think.
Ooh.
The Community Development Department team works together to provide a wide range of services related to housing and social services, planning, land development, economic development, and sustainability initiatives. The divisions of economic development, planning, engineering services, building, neighborhood services, and the Community Redevelopment Agency are focused on the big picture, as well as the individuals we serve every day. Despite the onset of a global pandemic in 2020, economic development in Titusville has remained quite active this past year. Garnering numerous accolades since 2019, the city certainly has a lot to proclaim. In 2021, the Titusville Metropolitan Statistical Area was rated number 2 in the entire nation for best performing cities by the Milken Institute. And in 2020, the area was ranked in the top 25 best of the world destinations by Nat Geo Traveler. To position the city at the forefront in the decision-making processes of both real estate practitioners and site selection professionals, the Economic Development Director designs a wide array of advertisements for placement in trade and industry magazines, periodicals, and other publications. These ads showcase not only the extensive variety, but also the unique character of the city's countless man-made wonders and stunning natural assets. Realizing the significance of the talent pipeline to the practice of site selection, the city, through the EDC, has again contributed to the Certified Production Technician Scholarship Program administered by the Eastern Florida State College Foundation. Available to Titusville residents, as well as city businesses engaged in manufacturing, publicizing the availability of these scholarships is expected to ramp up in fiscal year 2021-2022. At the core of economic development in Titusville is a deep-seated desire to help ensure the success of the city's current business owners, as well as to attract new commercial ventures and diversify our industrial base. The importance of partnerships should not be underestimated, and to achieve these goals, economic development staff continually collaborates with the Economic Development Commission of Florida's Space Coast, the North Brevard Economic Development Zone, and the Titusville Chamber of Commerce. The planning department staff participate in both long-range and short-range planning activities. Short-range planning activities include the review of site plans, subdivisions, and building permits for consistency with the Land Development Code. In the past year, the planning staff has also processed through the public review process 7 conditional use permits, 6 comprehensive plan map amendments, 1 master plan, 4 rezonings, 7 easement and public rights of way vacate requests, and 2 certificates of appropriateness for historic structures. Last year, staff also developed 22 ordinances amending the Code of Ordinances and continued work on the development of the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. A significant portion of the planning staff's efforts are assisted by the dedicated members of the several advisory boards. Dedicated members of the Planning and Zoning Commission, Titusville Environmental Commission, Historic Preservation Board, and the Board of Adjustment and Appeals spend many hours a month to assist the staff and citizens and should be recognized for their important contributions to the community. The community development's GIS analysts are an integral part of the team. They develop and maintain the GIS and story maps found on the city's website, as well as assist with data analysis and address many other technical studies. In addition, the staff and public are able to view, search, and create maps using the online portal developed by the GIS team. In addition, the planning department coordinates the city's sustainability planning efforts, as well as the development of environmental ordinances, such as the tree protection and low-impact development ordinances, and helps to maintain the city's Tree City USA certification. The Neighborhood Services Department manages and oversees the city's CDBG, home, SHIP, and other specialized grants. These federal and state grants provide funding for public services, housing programs, emergency assistance programs, and infrastructure improvements throughout the city. In fiscal year 2019-2020, revenue from the CDBG and home grants, including prior year carryover, exceeded $860,000. These grants served over 1,500 people and created capital improvements in low-income residential areas of the city. These programs and activities consisted of early learning childhood development services, domestic violence supportive services and emergency housing and homeless services, and street resurfacing, which resurfaced 10 streets totaling 1.4 miles. Additionally, in fiscal year 2019-2020, revenue from the SHIP grant program provided housing rehabilitation improvements to 4 homes totaling over $77,000 and provided over $46,500 in funds for down payment purchase assistance for 2 families through the first-time home buyer program. The Neighborhood Services Department, in partnership with the North Brevard Charity Sharing Center, Incorporated, currently manages and oversees the Harry T. Moore Social Service Center. The center serves as an informational hub to disseminate information to approximately 1,500 citizens a year on services that are available throughout the community. In addition to their regular duties, the Neighborhood Services staff also coordinated the processing of COVID-19 assistance programs. Between February 1, 2020, the 4 staff members in the department have received and reviewed 283 applications, with 143 applications finalized and payments issued. In total, over $273,720 has been encumbered and $215,000 in payments have been provided for rent, mortgage, and utilities. Planning staff also includes the Community Redevelopment Planner, who, under the Distinguished Community Redevelopment Agency Executive Director, coordinates the activities of the Community Redevelopment Agency, or the CRA. This year, staff completed the mandated annual report and provided copies to the City Clerk's office to send to all of the taxing authorities in the county. The past year also saw the CRA fund the street resurfacing of Orange Street west of Hopkins Avenue, Pine Street west of Hopkins Avenue, and Lemon Avenue between Garden Street and South Street, the installation of downtown security cameras, the landscaping of the Commons parking lot, and the infill of landscaping in the South Washington Avenue and South Hopkins Avenue landscape islands, the purchase and installation of holiday pedestrian light pole decorations, including rope lights, banners, and bows, the replacement of a damaged historic interpretive sign, and the continued administration of the CRA's building grant programs, the commercial interior renovation grant, beautification facade grant, and the building permit and impact fee grant. Current projects include sidewalk infill and ADA repair work, removing and installing new pedestrian streetlights on Joy Street west of South Hopkins Avenue, funding sewer main slip lines in the district to protect the Indian River Lagoon, and the funding of a feasibility study and conceptual plan for a spaced view park observation walkway here. The Development Services Division serves as the central point of contact for all new residential, commercial, and industrial development and redevelopment projects. Engineering reviews and inspections are done on all new proposed developments, along with site plans, landscape plans, grading plans, drainage studies, and traffic reports, in order to ensure that everything is in compliance with the technical requirements of the city's land development regulations. Site plan and subdivision reviews are conducted by a team of knowledgeable staff from community development. Public Works, Fire, and Water Resources work together to coordinate the many facets of both public and private development. Staff also reviews and assists with variance requests that go before the Board of Adjustment and Appeals, which meets monthly. Since January of 2020, the department has processed application variances on 31 projects. Titusville Talking Points presents the most current compilation of the projects being reviewed and inspected by the Development Services staff. A few highlights this year include the Shores at Tranquility, River Palms Condominium, Verona Subdivision, which was formerly Willow Creek, Falcon Spruce, which was formerly Lake Bella, Launch Federal Credit Union, Lockheed Martin Expansion, 5-Star Credit Union, Fox Lake Hammock, Popeye's Restaurant, Huntington Park, Hope Hammock, Canopy Living at Hickory Creek Assisted Living Facility, Wendy Lee Condominium, Horizon at Sandpoint, Aspen Dental, Discount Tire, and Brookshire Subdivision. In 2016, our staff led the county in SNAP recertification. SNAP, which is a simplified, nimble, accelerated permitting program, is issued by the Economic Development Commission of Florida Spacers. And this certification is earned by local governments who develop streamlined permitting processes for building and site permitting. In addition to site plan review and permitting, the Development Services Division oversees the administration and issuance of business tax receipts for all new and existing businesses in the city, issuing over 300 business tax receipts last year. The Building Division reviews all building construction plans and permit applications for compliance with the Florida Building Code and the city's land development regulations. The city's 4 building inspectors each hold multiple licenses, including 1 and 2 family residential inspector, building plans examiner, building inspector, certified building official, mechanical inspector, electrical inspector, plumbing inspector, mechanical plans examiner, and plumbing plans examiner. The Building Division also issues certificates of occupancy and provides all permits for vertical construction, redevelopment, and building improvement projects, including fences and signs. The city has implemented electronic permitting and inspection services, which has greatly improved customer service and efficiency. In fiscal year 2020, 4,557 permit applications were submitted, and 4,179 permits were issued. This is a 30% increase over the number of permits issued in 2016. Inspectors conducted 12,106 inspections. Due to the significant workload, the city augments inspection staff with 2 contract inspectors. The building department has also participated in limited trials utilizing virtual inspections for certain types of inspections, such as garage door installations. The city also has entered into an interlocal agreement with Space Florida to provide site and building plan review and inspection services for spaceport territory projects, including Exploration Park. It has been a busy year for the community development team, and we value our qualified, customer service-oriented staff. Each member of the team is given the opportunity to expand their skills through training, conferences, and certification courses. Our goal is that experienced and knowledgeable staff will better serve our community as it continues to grow and thrive. The community development staff appreciates the support of City Council and administration as we strive to improve the services we provide and the close working relationship that we enjoy with all of the city departments who participate with us in order to serve the public.
Yeah, very good. And it goes back to what I said previously, the number of things you don't know until you have something like that. So thank you very much. Council, any questions or comments? I see none. City Manager.
The next presentation is entryway signs from our Public Works Department, and Sandy and Kevin are here to present.
Hello. I don't have any cool videos, just some bad Photoshop for you. So mid-year of this fiscal year, you allocated $45,000 for entryway sign enhancements. As you're all probably aware, currently we have 3 entryway signs at those green locations. There's been some interest in adding 2 additional signs, one on the south end at 405 and one coming in from the north end on US 1. So we see that we have 2 options moving forward. We can either take our current signs and spruce up the paint, take off the letters, put on new lettering. We're not going to be able to change the shape of the signs or really how much they look, but for that amount of funding, we could do this to all 3 of the existing signs. Or we can contract with one of our continuing services consultants to develop conceptual designs for brand new signs. Now, these aren't the conceptual designs. These are things I Googled. We already reached out to Kimley Horn, one of our consultants, and the total cost for this would be $7,800 approximately. This would include conceptual designs for the replacement of the 3 signs plus the additional new signs. So your next steps, if on your 6:30 meeting under consent agenda item 8J, the landscape gateway and signage work order. There's multiple items on that work order. If you wanted to go with option 1 and just repaint what we got and re-letter it, then you would approve that work order minus tax 3, which is that approximately $8,000 for these new conceptual designs. Or if you want to move through, go with option 2, you would just approve the entire work order. That's it? Is it?
That's it. Member Stokel.
We don't have the designs yet. That's what this company would do for us.
Member Stokel.
Yeah, to that point, do we have an estimate on how much new signage would cost?
They cost doing the research, it depends on what we go with. I've seen anywhere from $15,000 to $40,000 a sign.
Okay.
So this company would give us a couple options. We can kind of say which ones we want to go for. Now, they're also, it depends on, with these new signs, it depends on where they get put, because if they're put in DOT right away, they have to be made of different materials. So it's all depending on what we decide and where we put them.
Okay.
Member Jordan.
Oh, thank you. How do I start this? I actually think that the signs that we have, I'm a big fan of HGTV and how they rehab things for sure. Of course, I think it would be a lot cheaper if we would to take the signage that we have right now, the 3 main signs. I saw your picture, but to me what was missing was LED lights. To me, LED lights they need to shine.
Yes, yeah, we could definitely upgrade that lighting out there.
Yeah, and maybe even
I
have
think we
it,
could do that.
LEDs are pretty cheap now, and you can put some color, have it different colors for different moods and stuff like that. I just think when someone comes into town, specifically at night, they should be able to see a welcoming sign, and lights would do it. Not spotlights, but just LED lights that would really showcase Titusville.
I couldn't figure out how to Photoshop that.
Oh, okay. But in my mind, I just don't see us needing to spend an exorbitant amount of money, building new signs. I think the signage we have is okay. It just needs to be enhanced, and I think we should just build on what we already have and go forward. I do agree that we need to have signage coming from the north into Titusville. Every major thoroughfare, if you will, to me needs to have a major sign so people will know when they enter Titusville, they know they're entering Titusville. My humble opinion.
So I believe that we have 3 existing, and then
Right.
our proposal would also add 2 additional signs at those arteries.
And I think that's where I am, where we use the 3 existing and whatever the cost is. We don't have idea what the cost was for us to have another sign that we already have, duplicate signs like that.
Those signs were about $50,000 each when they were done, and they're concrete core, so those can't be used inside DOT right-of-ways. That's why they were never installed in the other 2 locations. So they'll have to be foam cord breakaway, which adds to their cost.
Foam is more expensive.
It will be when they design them and get all the study done to pass DOT's requirements for permitting. Mm-hmm. If they're not in DOT right-of-way, they'd be buildable quicker. But that's, if I recall, and it's been quite a while since they were built, but that's what they cost finished.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor.
I have to say the repainting them helped, because right now I look at it and go, boy, these are really boring. I mean, I wouldn't even look at them. I didn't think about the lighting. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. I think that would probably help, plus the painting. And that would be an inexpensive alternative. So that was my thoughts for tonight.
I would just add in second, I'm not looking to take down the signs and put something else up. I think that we can, play with what we have there with some lighting and some paint maybe. Those are fine. And as far as coming in US 1 from the north or the south, I don't know that I even feel like we have to have those big $50,000 signs there. I will take a picture if you haven't seen it, but I go down Grissom into Cocoa most every day. And when I do, they have a beautiful sign. It's not real big, and it's just kind of colorful, and it's got like a little wood background. It's not on the ground. It's up on a regular sign, but it's just it's really bright with a blue sky and an orange cocoa in writing. I don't think we need to go, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. I think that the interstate signs and the entryway there, I think that's perfect. But I don't think we need to go that way on US 1. And like I said, I see that sign every day, and I mean to take a picture of it, but I go by pretty fast. But anyway, thank you for your report. Anybody else?
One of
Member Jordan.
Why do you say it like that?
Because I knew it was you.
Also, I was just thinking, those are brick. Is that a brick signage we have now? It looks like.
Inside the core, yeah.
I thought the surface of it looked like it was
The
brick.
pedestals are, the main is stucco over concrete.
Okay, and that's what I was just thinking. You know, if we wanted something smooth, we certainly can stuck over it. But I'll wait for the design and see where we go.
I agree.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Without anybody else, we'll move on again to City Manager. Thank you.
The next is solid waste review, and Kevin's ready to.
There you go.
Yep.
I got this one here, I think.
It's our annual rate review, so we'll go through solid waste first, and we also have stormwater after this. So just covering a couple things, we can go over what we've seen in the last year, proposed budget, projected rate needs, some strategies to address those needs, and some comparisons on both residential and commercial, and then end with recommendation, which you've already seen the budget and the budget workshop, so you know what's coming as far as the rates. But just to show, the last year we've seen residential up slightly and commercial up a lot, about 6%, 6.33% of our tonnage is up. And then recycling has actually been up. That's primarily in the residential areas. We do recycle some commercial, but that's heavier residential. Budgetarily, our overall budget, we did reduce to about 24% on the revenue side, with almost 100% reduction on intergovernmental. We had payments from FEMA in this current year. We don't project those next year since we haven't been cleaning up from storms. Charge for service up about 10% overall. We've reduced our working capital. Transfers are down, and the miscellaneous is down. So we drill down to our refuse division, which is our garbage side of the house. It's up about 6% overall, with personnel services up 2.25%. Salaries up around 11%, which is incorporated with the pay raises both current year and next year. Operating up about 12%. Kind of the driver of that is our anticipation of expansion of communication needs, and our fleet costs are up, which every department of the city is seeing an increase in fleet cost. The 1513 side, which is our recycling side, also up around 3%. Salaries there driven, only 3 employees on that side, but the salaries are driven about down. Thanks to some changes in people there, the projected cost went down. Operating up about 16, driven again by fleet and some by the insurance. Non-departmental has dropped nearly 50%. Then personnel services up around 18, with group insurance driving its way up a little bit. Operating up as well, where we have increases on insurance and transfer fees and the IT fee up. Capital outlay down 94%. If you recall, earlier this year, we accelerated 3 of our vehicle purchases through impact fees and working capital, actually using some of the FEMA unincorporated unexpected revenue as well. So we took 3 vehicles that would have been in proposed budget, moved them to current year, which brought down our outlay to a single vehicle. And our debt service is up as we continue to pay financing. So over the last year, our breakdown in service area, we put about 41% of our tonnage is coming through commercial, 33% through the general residential garbage collection, 15% through yard, 6% of our total tons in recycling. Bulk makes up about 3%, and our street sweepers are bringing in about 2% of the overall tonnage. So just looking back for the last 12 months, we've seen CPI up 5.39%, but we are proposing a 3% rate increase. We are proposing, due to recycling tonnage and lack of being able to sell the goods, to bring that to taking another 4.61 above CPI to a full 10% rate increase on recycling. We'll go through the details of recycling. You know, recycling is a small part of the bill. To give you an idea of that impact for a single-family residential, our main line of service, I like to do this comparison back to 2010. It was 1214 is what was being billed out. If we took CPI projections to today, that would be 1432. We're actually coming in at 1388, which is 8.23% below the CPI. It is 14% above the rate 12 years ago. On the multifamily side, the same comparison. We were at 911 in 2010. We raised it now to 1134 under CPI, but we're coming at 1059, 6 and 6 above CPI, 16 above 2010. So we're still well below CPI on rate projections. Obviously, this year we're taking 2% below the rate. On the commercial side, which is where we really do well in the comparison, we at 393 in 2010. We're coming in at 402 next year. 490 would be where we would have been with CPI. So we're still actually only 2% above the rate in 2010 for the commercial side. So with the 3% on the refuse and 10% recycling, the regular home will see a rise from $13.25 a month to $13.40 a month. Yearly total goes up $5.76, which is a 3.58% increase for the total cost of delivery of service. And our rate comparison, we stay, the light green is the current year, proposed as a darker green. The orange bar is our average for all the county service areas. I will note that Melbourne has declined a renewal of their contract. They will be going back out for bid. When the county and Palm Bay did this, their rates raised substantially. The county was, I think, close to a 40% rate increase. When they re-upped Waste Management, Palm Bay's was closer to 80%. So I suspect that this will change as those contracts get renewed or rebid. Most all the carriers that didn't check Rockledge is the only other city provided service. The others are already based. They get automatic CPI increases, so they will get the CPI that is on the board. So this comparison, I went to our largest pickup, which is an 8 cubic yard dumpster, picked up 6 days a week. So this is the worst case commercial, currently paying a little over $10,057 a year. They'll go up to $10,380, about a $326 increase. The blended increase of all the service levels is 3.24%. Again, this is the worst case commercial, which is picked up all days we service, which is 6 days a week, and the largest size. So again, comparison of our per cubic yard rates, we stay in our same position, third lowest. We are still well below the average. I don't suspect Cape Canaveral will change theirs much. They basically do a direct cost for commercial service. Melbourne, like I said, has bid theirs out, so they'll see theirs increase. But we're still in the lower end of the commercial spectrum. So just to give you some idea of some ways we're making improvements in solid waste, you contracted the last meeting to allow us to go to a routing software, which will put in-cab routing in all of our equipment and reroute our entire system. So our drivers will have a service that will show them where to go, what to pick up, and verify the service for us. So it's a technology upgrade, a big technology upgrade, to be honest with you. We haven't rerouted the system since 2008 when it came online, other than by hand maps. This was delayed, so we already actually did the review. To review scheduling yard debris in bulk on an opposite week from recycling. Some communities are doing this to address staffing issues. Check with our staff. We don't feel this needed at this time. It is an option if we come upon staffing issues. That would basically put where you would not put yard debris out with the recycle carts, you would put them on the other week. It would save us some staffing, but we don't need it right now. We're close to full staffing. We are currently, the multifamily, looking at phasing out the multifamily credit over a period of time. Currently, we give the multifamilies a 25% rate reduction. It was originally given because they don't provide the same service, but to be honest, we provide the same service for everyone, so that credit is creating an undue burden on the rest of the residential customers who are having to pay to make up for it. So we provide multifamily every service we provide everyone else, bulk collection and yard debris. So we'll look to phase that out in the future, but it won't be a single 25% jump, just so everyone's aware. The next step, as you know, we've looked at moving to the assessment. We will be planning to come back in November to talk about next steps on that process, which would be looking at the residential on the tax roll. Again, our recommendations are proposed rate increases that will be back before you during the budget process. At the special meeting, you'll see the ordinances that will change the code of ordinances to incorporate these rate changes. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Member Jordan. Kevin,
Thanks. That was pretty detailed, and I understood exactly what you were doing. So I really appreciate that, especially since we are doing some upgrades. You know, when I think of you, unfortunately, I think about the buildings that you're in and all of that, and I just don't think it's fair, to be honest with you. We got to do something about it, but I appreciate what you're trying to do, and I think it's so reasonable what you're asking for as far as the rating increases. I'm a little nosy, though, when you said that there's a commercial group that you do 6 times a week. What kind of company is that?
Oh, most all of our restaurants are serviced 6 days a week.
Really?
Yeah, not all of them are at 8 Yard, which is our largest dumpster, but they have demands of, they're taking food waste out, so
Right.
if it gets left for the extra 2 days over a weekend, most of the more heavy food service areas, they're about the only ones. Most everyone else has dropped below that, and some of the restaurants are down to like 4. We did see during COVID, a lot of them reduced their pickups as a way to save, and a lot of them have come back now. But that's the most part. Our only ones we see at 6 days are restaurant related.
Okay. Well, on a personal note, since I do have a commercial business, you guys do an excellent job. It just seems like you're there all the time. to be honest with you. Well, and it's very much appreciated. We have a lot of stuff ourselves. Being a logistics company, is very much appreciated that the cans are emptied and ready for the next thing. So,
Yeah, the guys do a great job.
They do.
They work hard at keeping everything picked up.
yeah, they actually blow at me too when they come by.
I do.
I mean, to me, in a town like ours, for people to be so friendly, it says a lot about customer service, to tell you the truth. So, really appreciate it.
They were honking to get you out of the way. Anybody else on this one? I would, too, say you do an outstanding job. And in my previous role at Titusville High School, a number of times that we exceeded our limit and make a quick call, and you were there quick. And I appreciate that. City Manager.
Yes, sir. And Kevin will present, or probably Sandy on this one. Yeah, okay. The stormwater rate review.
Sandy got signs. I get the other 2. So,
I have 5 left.
so as you know, stormwater is a non-ad valorem assessment, so it comes under the bottom line of your tax rolls. And will be just a little history. The stormwater utility was established in 1990. Was billed quarterly as a standalone bill. 2005 was the implementation of an automated rate increase to continue that utility. It switched to an annual billing in January, still as a standalone. Due to collection issues where we had a hard time generating the revenue for the utility, it moved to the utility bill in 2012, still as a one-time fee. 2018, it was authorized to move to the non-ad valorem assessment. And since it's been on the ad valorem assessment in 2019, we did a 2% rate increase, which matched the CPI from April to April. Last year, we did a 0 increase with the CPI was 0.37. We rounded down to 0. So some of the action we're seeking tonight is just doing a approval of the rates for the FY22 assessments, just for a backlook review. Since 2020 to 2021 April, the CPI was up 4.16. Take that to June, as we said in solid waste, it came up to 5.39. We are recommending to do a 0 rate increase for this year to allow us to take a look at the assessment methodology, and then come back with a assessment look next year at potential changes. What we want to look at is looking at the methodology to see if we should be asking for increases above 3%. Currently, that's not allowed. We lock it at 3%. Obviously, CPI tracking above 3%, cost is above 3%, and I'll go through some capital elements later that drive our cost up. We also want to look at the assessment unit. The assessment unit hasn't been looked at since it was created in the 1990 utility, which is what we base our ERUs on, which is what's the perfect lot coverage that generates how much water, and are we using the right number? If you look at other utilities, everyone uses a different methodology. We just want to make sure ours is right, bring it up to a good review now. We also want to take a look at the credits we give. We give credits out to ponds that are permitted under the St. John's Water Management District. Is that appropriate to give out credits? It spreads the cost differently. If you are on an older subdivision, doesn't have ponds, you pay more. Is that the appropriate way of handling the credits? And then a little bit of change. Some people have gone to a tiering system with homes. Larger homes pay more than just the flat rate that we currently charge. So these are some of the things we're going to hire a consultant in to take a look at and come back in the next assessment role to make adjustments. So with it being a no rate increase, we do have revenue changes because we have seen more properties come online. So this is a chart of our summary of our fees, everything from vacant to commercial. As we said, you see the two areas that get credits, both the residential and the condo townhouses get crediting systems. You can tell from our chart the commercials are around 1.3 million. Overall, we're looking to generate 2.7 million from the 22,642 current properties. There are no bills, no assessments placed on the vacant land as they do not run off stormwater. So with that, that we're staying the same, this is a comparison of our rates. This is a single family home. So we're about the middle, right at about the average for the county. There are a few cities going through rate reviews now, so I don't know how much they're going to change, but I know Melbourne recently did a rate review. Some of the other communities are going through rate reviews again. So give you an idea of where our budget goes. From our operation personnel, make up a little over $1 million. It is a reduction year to year, about 1.5%. Operating costs is up. Fleet and carrying costs of things like the BMATs, we moved to operating from capital this year, so we see an increase there, and our non-departmental is down. A lot of that is in the transfer to our capital side. The street sweeper share did go up 24%. This is solid waste and stormwater share that cost of running the street sweepers. And our capital improvement budget is down about 64%. We're allocating a little less than $700,000 to capital for next year. So just to give you an idea of where our capital goes, we're putting about $500,000 towards maintenance next year, and another $200,000 towards water quality. This is just the utilities contribution to these items, not including grants that we get. And if you look at the bottom line for our current active projects, we got about $1.6 million tied up on maintenance, a little less than $1 million in water quality currently active for $2.6 in the active CIP program. So again, as we look at fiscal year 23, which is looking 1 year forward, just to recap, we'll be looking to come back with a CPI increase above the 3% if it's warranted, taking away that restriction and looking at the ERU assessments and credits given, and again, looking at the tier program and anything else that is kind of coming into the new way of funding the utility. I did kind of want to recap. One of the things that I reviewed was looking at our CIP projections, and what I've done here is look at our last 5 years of our CIP expenditures. The red line is what I estimate we need to keep up with the utility system, to keep it operational and to fund water quality at the appropriate level. It goes down in the past because I was using CPI to backtrack the total that I came up this year. So we've been close most years, a little bit below in current year, although we have a lot of active projects that are not paid out yet in 2020. The thing about this that I do want to share is most of those lines got closer because we were generating a lot of grant revenue for water quality. We weren't generating grants because there are none on maintenance. So we're seeing the maintenance program struggle a little bit to keep up with piping replacements and slip lining and things of those nature that there are no grants for. The utility just has to pay for. So as the cost of those increase, the time is starting to catch up with us. So just to give you an idea, what I projected from here on out, we need about $1.3 million annually in the capital improvement program, which is about 165% over what we're projecting for next year. We also went through and we took the current BMAP where we are, and we backtracked what we think it will take to finish it. We need about $677,000 annually, which is about 239% over the $200,000 we put in. Again, that's just if the utility funds it solely. We know we're going to get grants, but just taking the worst case, if the utility is trying to fund the BMAP on its own, that's what we're looking at for the finishing out of the BMAP. And we will adjust that as we get things like the sewer plant online, things that aren't booked against the BMAP yet. So just to give you the worst case scenario, because I like to give you the worst case scenario, if we were to lump sum that CIP projection into it, it'd be looking at about a 73% rate increase. We know that's not real. So, but I do like to give the worst case. So again, benchmarking, just looking at it from long term, we're looking at maybe a 14% to take a 5-year run at getting the CIP program up to a fully funded level, which we think would give us enough funds to really address the maintenance side at the level it needs and to fund the water quality without grants if that, again, worst case scenario. And we would look at adjusting, and we'll come back with a lot of this later, but just kind of prep as we look at capital as a different monster now is we're seeing the capital. We've used a lot of working capital to get ourselves in a good place, maintainable, but future, we're at the point we've got to look at sustaining the capital program. So just plugging that in scenario 1, we would basically jump to the top of the line. In scenario 2, we stay predominantly where we are. Although it's a big number, 14%, it doesn't move us out of our current positioning. Again, a lot of that could also be affected by credits given and tiers. If we were to bring in a different credit program or go to different residential tiers, you may see the overall number come down for an individual house, but it may be traded out for other people that currently get credits may not get as much. So now that we're past that part, we'll touch the happy part a little bit. What have we done for the Lagoon? Last year we updated this slide, so we brought it back this year to give you an idea of what's been done overall. This is all of our partners, for everyone that's working on the BMAP. All the projects that have completed, 218 projects through July of 2020, which is the official date of the BMAP cutoff for annual reporting. So far, 106,000 pounds per year of nitrogen has been reduced, which is 42% of the goal, and 22,000 pounds of phosphorus, which is a little less than 50% of the total goal. Currently, the goal is to complete the BMAP by 2035, and that's what our funding projections would afford. We think we'll get there quicker as grants come in, but that's keeping it on a kind of a linear base. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. And again, just to recap, we were asking for no rate increase under this assessment. The assessment roles are in tonight's budget, so tonight's approval, at the 6:30.
Well, thank you for your third presentation. Any council comment, question? I see none. Thank you very much. City Manager.
And last is letters of recommendations that we've received for our employees this month. I'd like to read them for the record. From Fire and Emergency Services, Timothy Bowman, Dustin Davis, Thomas Duncan, Colby Eberly, Gerald Ford, Tiffany Lamoth, Ronald Smith, and Cheyenne Wilson. From Community Development, Rose Koning, Brad Parrish, and Jess Pouncey. From Water Resources, Carrie Beatty, Scott Devine, Gail Gilchrist, Doug Larkins, Vanessa Pittman, Sean Stoffer, and Jeff Wayner.
Thank you very much, City Manager. That takes us to petitions and requests from the public. I'm sure there are none. All right, here we go.
I think some of you know who I am. I'm Stan Johnston, and I'm up here because of this. And you've seen this before. You've seen this before. This begins when? It begins February the 12th, 2019. It began with our mayor and city manager and Jolynn Nelson nodding her head yes and yes and yes to this fraud. This fraud. What is this fraud about? Well, it shows it right on the sign. And I've got a copy of the sign here. If anyone in the audience would like it, it's on the table here. It's a copy of the sign. And the sign designates $70,000. What has happened to that $70,000? Maybe our city manager could tell us. Maybe our city attorney or Jolynn Nelson. I don't know what happened to the $70,000 or what happened to the report. It still continues today. I mean, right now, Jolynn Nelson is still promoting this fraud. And I say fraud, what it is something to humiliate me, to insult me, and so forth. And here she is on council, and she won't talk about this fraud. That fraud that she's very much involved in, that you can watch on YouTube, and her nodding her head back and forth. Our city manager is very much heavily involved in it too. Fraud. Should we have our public officials heavily involved in fraud? If you want to read it verbatim, what happened, it's right here. It's ORB 8506, page 1375. It says city manager and mayor. That's not Mr. Diesel. This is Walt Johnson, of course. I'll clarify that.
Clarify.
So anyhow, we have this fraud that continues today. Today, with our city council, 3 members of our city council, our city manager, Our city attorney is heavily tainted with this also. And here it goes. It continues. It continues today. What is the city going to do about it? What are the people going to do about it? Well, this is so bad. Let me go a little bit on. Is that on that sheet of paper, I've got three things that's shown. Is that not only is the city manager involved in this, but we've got spraying the public with sewage for 4 months. That's pretty crazy. We've got a consent order that says sewage stopped December the 19th, where it really stopped February the 18th. That's 2 months later. What do we have here? Pretty dysfunctional. What do we have? I just wonder, is Mr. Larice, is he some kind of psycho? Really? I mean, this is so bizarre. So bizarre, and yet it continues today. You know what I'm talking about. It's been going on. Mr. Jordan, I'm not sure what he's going to do about it. He's tainted with it also. I'm asking for 2 more minutes.
I see none.
Okay, thank you.
Time is up. Thank you. And with that, City Manager, anything you want to add?
Yes, sir.
Okay, with that, I see nothing from the council. We will reconvene for the 6:30 meeting in 12 minutes. Meeting
you.
adjourned.